All right, Unsolved Mysteries came out with 2 seasons or 2 volumes in 2024. Now let's look at volume or season 5 and see if these 4 episodes are worth your time. This calc is wild today. This is like my second video of the day Chase Lee Hockey here with the Blue Futon, reviewing season 5 of Unsolved Mysteries. Like I said, I'm gonna apologize for his hair probably like 17 times because it's absolutely horrendous. Anyway, I've been kind of disappointed from where this series is going because it's been more of like Unsolved Mystery of like a murder. And then it's slowly been going to these weird like Jack the Ripper or UFOs or random things like that where I'm like, Jack the Ripper is an 1800 thing, and I'm sorry, we're probably never going to figure out who it is, so I hate to say to like cut the cord for that one, but cut the cord. But anyway, season 5 only has 4, and it has another UFO one. However, I think this episode did the UFO like phenomena correct, unlike the other ones like Mothman and things like that. Anyway, let's just go through the different episodes of what I think of it. The first one was Park Bench Murders. If not mistaken, this is somewhere in Washington, if not mistaken, and also at a park bench. 2 people murdered, a black dude and a white lady, and they have no idea who. Yes, they knew each other here and there, but it was more of like a friendship, but it makes no sense why these 2 people were murdered. They don't know if it was gang related. They don't know if there was a vendetta between him, a vendetta with her, and they just both got caught up, or it could just be a random act of violence, and there are random acts of violence, and that could just be this one where someone just like explodes and like, bam, bam, thank you, ma'am, and they just want to kill someone. Unfortunately, with this one, it feels like it's weird because there's like no evidence. Yes, they have some bullet cases, if I'm not mistaken, but they got nothing. They got like no cars, no humans, no foot tracks. It's like, it's one of the ones where you're like, how can someone like this get away with murder in a random park and no one hear the gunshots? So that's very interesting in my opinion. So overall, I think Park Bench Murders is a good unsolved mystery. I know that sounds horrible, but it's a good episode to bring to light about, can anyone find who murdered these 2 folks. All right, the second one is My Paranormal Partner. So this is an interesting one where we're more, I don't know if this is called an unsolved mystery personally. This is more of a dude that might actually be able to contact the dead. And there's one scientist who was like very in disbelief, like there's no way he could do it. There's no way. But he did a lot of tests over and over again. And like, hey, this guy has actually something interesting that he actually knows what he's doing. And so they go to different spots to see what he can figure out. Yes, and there were some stuffs where I wouldn't say it felt staged, but it felt like, someone could just like, I think this happened here and this happened here because there's a random ass tree over there, so let's go in that direction of something horrible happening. So even though I think it was a fine episode, it kind of left me underwhelmed of like, what are we trying to really unsolve here? Who this Betty girl is that he could just contact? I don't know. Third one, Mystery Mutilation. So this one I thought was probably the more fascinating one, that this doesn't have to deal with murders, or murder of cows, but it's about the mutilation of like cows with their tongues cut out, precision cuts, tails, genitalia, skin, just random things where just eyes bulged out, like things that just don't make sense. Where if I randomly want to go kill a cow, there's no way I'm gonna have precision like laser focus of taking the eyeballs out, the tongues out, the genitalia out, and things like that. So it's very interesting because of course they're saying UFOs or things like that. But this one is probably the most fascinating one for the past 2 volumes when it comes to non-murder ones, because it's more of like, who's doing this? Like, how's there, of course, no evidence, but no evidence for this one would be easier because of the fact you're in these huge acred fields with all these cattle. And the weird thing is like no blood. Like I said, there's so many interesting things with this one. And yes, there are some people in this episode that have like guesstimations that could occur, but it was never like, kind of like, because they're all unsolved. But this one was more, I think, the more baffling one of like, how can this happen? How can this happen and no one have a freaking clue? So I found that one interesting. And the last one, like I said, how they did a UFO run. So this is the Roswell UFO incident. And this one connects to an older Unsolved Mysteries episode which I think that's how you do it right with something like this, because this is something that's been done and it's been in the government now where it's not called UFOs anymore. It's like, government, really? Do we have to change every freaking thing to fit your agenda? Anyway, but I do find it fascinating about, this saucer and going to a balloon. And I do believe, like, okay, the government lies. Period. I know that. I know the government lies. And they would lie for something like this for try to keep it on the hush hush. Because think about it. Roswell, New Mexico, they don't want, even during this time, Cold War, China, Vietnam, shit like that. Of course they're going to lie about it because they don't want Chinese, Russians to come to America to come to this spot. They want to be like, oh yeah, here you go. So it is interesting with this episode of like, but here's the thing with UFOs, aliens, whatever you want to call it. And okay, I'm going to connect this also to 9/11 where people are like, it's a government inside job. Okay. The government, I hate to say it, is so incompetent that I don't think they're capable of like faking a 9/11 or having it be that perfect. Oh, what about Building 7 where it's like the pop pop pop? I don't trust the government having a perfect like detonation. I just don't. Here, I don't believe it either of having the perfect hiding out of these aliens. And with so many quote unquote sightings, let's take an example with these drones in New Jersey right now. People are taking pictures. People are trying to shoot down these drones. But when it comes to flying saucers and aliens, we have shit. Yes. I know you're probably thinking you're comparing drones to UFOs. Fine. Guilty. But I don't know. I just have a hard time believing UFO/aliens with all of our technology. And, it's hidden by the government. The government's not that competent. I'm sorry. There's too many idiots in Congress and the Senate to spout their bubble mouths, bubble butts, whatever. I'm looking at my hair, and I'm just trying not to laugh at myself. But overall, Season 5 of this wasn't bad. It had some good, interesting episodes, but also some that were just like, eh. So, Unsolved Mysteries Season 5 will receive a 3.5 out of 5 with Futon. So it goes at 70%. Let's see what the critics and user scores gave this one. Critics, we just have one of them, and giving it a positive. So we have a positive in my 70. Chase out here with the Blue Futon. Like, comment, subscribe. One of the things, Bluetopia. You Blue Futon, thank you for watching from the great down. Come watch us today, tomorrow, week, from a month, or a year from every single freaking one of you. Peace and love, peace and love. And what's your biggest unsolved mystery? Mine is, who invented the bidet?